Hi, welcome to the course overview for IR6603, Introduction to IR. So welcome to the overview, and if I haven't welcomed you to the course, welcome. I'm Dave Hayes. I'm the instructor for the course, and this presentation is meant to give you, well, a course overview, and it may be sent to you before the course begins. You may be watching it through the course on the first week, but either way, it's meant to kind of bring you on board to what we're going to do in the course. Now, the course objectives, it's Introduction to IR. That's the name of it. And the idea, there's three things that I'm going to be doing throughout the course. Introducing you to international relations, introducing you to the scholarship, the social science scholarship that we use in international relations, and building a foundation for you to eventually successfully do your own research in the capstone course, which is the last course of the program. So at the very beginning, I'm pointing you towards the end of the program. That should make sense. Textbooks. Now, we have these two textbooks. One is Kellstadt and Witten, which is actually a political science research methodology textbook. And that one is meant to do the scholarship, to talk about methods, how we do things, how we find things out. And so that very much goes to that second objective. And it's also very much laying the foundation for doing research. The Kellstadt and Witten text would be great for the research methods course. It's good for this course because of the first few chapters, right? That's the main emphasis where it lays the foundations. And then as we go in, we're going to kind of use part of subsequent chapters about various statistical things, not as heavily as you would if this was a methods course. Okay, so that's how that textbook is fitting in. Then we have the International Relations Theory textbook, which gives you a good intro to theories in international relations and is kind of your intro to the IR field. And a very important part of this intro course is to, give you an idea of the theories. And keep in mind, theories are, as Kellstadt and Witten will define them, they're conjectures about causality. Theories are stories about what things affect other things in the world. And so they're very foundational. They're the starting point for international relations. So the Matthews and Callaway text is a overview of international relations theory. Now, those two textbooks together are just part of the readings. We have a lot of online journal articles, right, that come from scholarly journal articles that are the bread and butter of academic research. And, this is graduate school. We're going to read the original unabridged research that gets published in journals. And so each week there will be readings, maybe readings from these texts. We get over the Matthews and Callaway early in the course, and there's a lot of very significant readings that are through Troy's library. We have subscriptions to online journals, and so we have these older articles that are in there. So that is an important, if there's a tripod here of readings, that there are two texts and then all those online readings. Okay, um, each week you're going to, when you log into the course and you see like my picture, yay, here's Dave. Scroll down, you know, to hell with Dave. Scroll down to the weekly. There's a little table there with a link for each week, and it goes to the module overview page, which I guess I could call modules, but Canvas has something on the side for modules, and you're supposed to use that to put all the stuff in, and I just don't like the way it works. Okay, and I don't like the way it looks. So I created a page with a bunch of links on it, right? And a bunch of information, and that's a module overview page, and that essentially has what is listed in the syllabus for that week, right? And it has this kind of, I have this thing, read, view, do. Read this in the texts, or maybe get the JSTOR stuff and read that, right? JSTOR being is the one of the online subscription services. That's the online journal stuff, right? So you have your readings. Then there will be things to view. There may be presentations like this, and for sure, the course overview thing is going to be in one of those view sections of, you know, the week one overview page. And there may be some other stuff. There definitely is some other stuff for you to go online and view. And then there's do, right? At the end of all that, here's what I want you to do, right? In the first week, it's light, you know, but it's, you know, there's generally a discussion exercise. So there's things you're going to do. We'll talk about exactly what those are soon. So that's what you want to do, right? So each week you go to that and, okay, here's what I got to do. Generally, there's a Sunday deadline. Why? Because the course, it starts on a Monday, ends on a Sunday. We have 9 weeks. So each week, you know, the end of the week is Sunday. So that's when the deadline is. For most people, that's a good time. For some people, it isn't. You guys are graduate students, okay? You have lives, you have jobs, you have family. Sometimes Sunday does not work for you, right? You know, you may have to go away with your family for the weekend. That is more important than this, okay? Family is important. You know, things, your plans as adults are valid, okay? So what I want you to do, in order to accommodate that, but you still got to do this, right? You're adults, you'll work it out. And to help you work it out, I have a 1 to 2 day grace period on everything, right? So it's Sunday is when it's technically due, and the computer system will log it as on time or not, which doesn't matter for grading. I'm in charge of what gets graded and how, but it'll show up if you do it after Sunday at midnight. It will show up late. Don't worry about it because there's a grace period, right? Turn it in Monday, fine. Turn it in Tuesday, love it. No problem. You do not have to ask my permission. The grace period is there on everything except the last week of the course. Last week of the course, I have to turn in grades in 36 hours. You know, I got Tuesday. Well, actually, even and sometimes like in you know, it's that Monday by close of business, right? So I don't have much time to grade. And so I cannot give extensions past the end of the course, although you can fill out an incomplete, and I talk about that later in the course. You know, we'll worry about that later. But the point is, I'm very flexible. I'm so flexible, I make Gumby look rigid until the end of the course, at which point, oh, you know, you got to have this stuff in. Okay, keep that in mind. But also just keep in mind, you know, look, you have a life. I understand this. I'm giving you 1 to 2 days. You know, get it in Monday if you can. That's why I say 1 to 2. Right? Okay, it's 2 days, but you get the idea. Is I hope so. That you've got some slack in there because we're adults. We have lives. We have to do things, and so I give you a little flexibility. By the way, when you're looking at the module overview page, sometimes I make changes to this course, you know, from term to term, and things, mistakes are made, and you know, and if you have a problem, if you look at the module overview page and it says something different than the syllabus, technically the syllabus is authoritative. Okay, the syllabus is where is because I usually that's where I make the least mistakes, but it's also the syllabus is technically authoritative in a course. So and so generally go the syllabus, but if you're worried about it, just contact me. And if you ever find a mistake in the course, let me know about it and I'll fix it, right? And you know, like we're not sweating stuff, but I try to not have mistakes, but that happens. So like I say, the syllabus though is authoritative. Course requirements. Okay, and I'm going to go into, after the first one, I'm going to go into each of these separately, but um, you know, what you have to do, right? Obviously, each week you have reading to do and lecture materials to, like this, to listen to, watch, whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's and there is a lot of material in this course. It is graduate school, at an accelerated rate. We're cramming a semester into one term. And so it is a fair amount of work. Okay. So keep that in mind. That's what makes it the program worth doing. So you got that. And then we have these other things. We have quizzes, discussion exercises, and then we have the three major graded exercises. The week 4 essay, a literature review in week 7, and then your final exam. And I'm going to go into each of these things in turn. The objective quizzes, there are 4 throughout the course. They test basic concepts. Each quiz is worth a whopping 1 point on your final grade, right? So keep in mind, if you did none of these, if you got zeros on it, you would lose 4 points off the final grade. Not, not a disaster, right? You won't get that, but just saying, we're not sweating these grades, okay? However, there is a point there. I want to make it worth your while to go do the thing, okay? There are often more than 100 points, it says more than 100%. There's more than 100 points available, yet the grading is 100 points. So if there's 120 points and you get 95 points, right, out of that, that's still an A because it's going to be 95. I'm going to count it like points on a 100-point scale. So there's a little extra credit there. Why? Because these questions can be really tricky, right? The concepts I am testing are the concepts students get wrong the most. So I am asking you the questions that people really have trouble with. And I am really I'm not here to, I don't want you to necessarily get these right. I want to catch you if you're going to get them wrong, right? They're hard. These are hard. And a lot of it's in the phrasing. And so people, would be like, oh, I don't know. I get some complaints about, well, they're tough. And I'm like, well, they're meant to be, because I'm trying to catch you now when the thing is worth a fraction of a point, rather than later on in an essay and you say something stupid and I really, well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, because you're not going to do this, right? You're not going to say something stupid, but I want you to make the mistake here. That's my point. So keep that in mind. Right? They are really annoying questions, and however, also keep in mind your grade book wise. Your grade book will at various times show you a percentage. Right? Remember that example of a 95 out of 120? Well, that's going to count as an A. Right? You're going to get 0.95 of that 1 point on your final grade. But I can't figure out how to get the grade book to do it. They want me to assign a couple questions as extra credit, and I don't like doing that because none of them are extra credits. Just you get some mulligans, right? They're wild cards. But so just ignore any percentages the grade book gives you. When you go to the grade book, look at it as a place where I've recorded each individual grade, and when the grade book tries to sum things up and give you averages, take that with a grain of salt. Look at each of the assignments, right? If you're consistently getting A's, you're getting an A. If you're consistently getting B's, you're getting a B. Okay, I mean, don't let the grade book give you a percentage. Do your own math on this, because in terms of getting the grade book to reflect the scheme, it's always a little bit off. Okay, discussion exercises. There are 5 of these during the course. They are student discussion, and I typically will make comments on the question later. Not always, but I frequently, after everyone's done, I will come in and make some comments. But the idea I have here is this is student discussion. This is for you guys to take ideas out, throw things out there, then also see what other people are making of stuff, right? And I'm not going to weigh in and say, wrong, that this is, you're wrong and you're right. I'm not going to, it's going to be it's a safe space, okay, for student discussion. It's graded on a 100-point scale, and that is entirely based on participation. There is no qualitative assessment here, right? If you spew drivel, You're spewing drivel and getting away with it here. Uh, and so this is, remember those quizzes that are a pain in the butt? Well, this is your free space, right? And so keep that in mind, that it is participation based. And each week has its own rules, right? But generally the rules are, hey, here's a question, post an answer to it, little short essay, and then comment on 2 other students' essays. That's the min requirement. Okay, comment on at least 2 other students' posts. So you post a little blurb, however many 100 words is specified in the instructions, and then you write. And what I'm looking for is a paragraph or 2, you know, of comment on somebody else's thing, and it should reflect thought. Do not say, "Oh yeah, really good job. You really got me thinking." Eh, you know, say, good job. However, did you think about this? And then you share a thought. That counts. That counts as participation. Okay. So if you do the minimum, you're going to get an 85 to 87. Okay. That's the grade. Doing the minimum in graduate school gets you a B. That makes sense to me. Now, if you want a higher grade, comment on more other students' posts. Participate more. And essentially, I don't have I have in my head an algorithm for, and I'll share the beginning of it. One more post gets you to an 89, right? B plus, but not an A, right? But because in my head, I'm like, well, doing one more than the minimum above the min shouldn't, okay, that'll get you a B plus, but I'm not going to give you an A for that. Right, you got to you got to give me a little bit more, and then, and by the, obviously, the next one will get you to a low A, and so on. So keep that in mind. I'm not going to give a strict formula, but also keep in mind that we don't have pluses and minuses. So once you get above a 90 on something, you're in the A zone, and so you're not going to. I'm really reluctant to go up above into the higher things. However, yes, I will give 100. You know when I give 100? When I lose count of how many posts a student has commented on. I'm like, F it, you get 100. So you can get up in the upper 90s. But if you get above a 95, great. But you should also think, is this really worth it? Right? Could I do something else with my life? Because I think you get into diminishing returns at that point, right? So keep that in mind, right? But that's the discussion exercises. Like I say, there's 5 of them throughout the course, and I will grade those. You do those things. I may, like on Monday, Tuesday, make a video comment on maybe respond to some things, kind of try to give some kind of substantive feedback, but general, not to individuals. And then Wednesday or later, I actually do the grading on that. Okay, essay exams, right? We call them these exams. They're essays, right? I throw out an essay question and you write an essay and turn it in, and that's your exam. There are 2 essays in week 4 and week 9. These are the biggest graded assignments. They're a bulk of your grade, and the thing that largely, along with the literature review, determines whether or not you get an A or a B in the course. Okay, so they're important. That's what you grade on, and that's what you're going to get the feedback on, right? And so. But let me just hit this one thing. You turn these things in through Canvas. There's a Canvas assignment. You turn it in. You may notice that you can make comments on the side. You don't really need to. If you feel the need to make a comment when you're turning in your grade, that's fine. If you need to contact me about it, and you need me to get the message before I grade it, well, then please email me these things. I don't necessarily, but the comment section, though, is where I'm going to give you your feedback, right? And so keep that in mind. But when you turn this in, it's gonna also go through a review of it by a service called Turnitin that looks at what you submitted and compares it to this giant database of articles. And it produces a similarity report. And basically it's looking to see if you plagiarize, right? This is our test for plagiarism. And a high similarity report is not a good thing. Keep in mind, I mean, you can get a zero similarity hit on this because I do have settings or sensitivities I set. And so, but if you had, if you have something like a 10, 15% similarity, well, just if you mention names or titles or things that can trigger it, right? And so a 10 or 15% similarity is not a problem. So don't freak out about that. When it starts changing colors, right, to yellow or red, that's when you worry about it. And but that's just something that's going to happen. And we're not going to worry too much about that. However, we'll talk a little bit about that. But the key thing here is do understand you're at least in a program where your colleagues, your classmates are getting checked, right? If you don't like having your integrity double checked, well, think about the advantage of being in a program where we check everyone's integrity so we don't have people turning in bogus stuff and turning in also, by the way, the database is articles that have been submitted by other students. Every student who's ever submitted this essay to me, that's in the database too. So it really makes cheating very difficult, which is good, right? You're paying a lot of money, putting a lot of time. You don't want the program you're part of to be questioned. Okay, so there's that. More importantly, though, but that's just one thing. And what I like about it is I don't have to worry about it anymore, right? Because I look, okay, no similarity, great. Let's talk about what you did. And when I say talk about what you did, you're going to get voice feedback, okay? On these essays, I am going to give you it's about 5 to 10 minutes of blah, 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 blah about what I thought you did in your essay. And so I'm going to kind of explain what you did. Sometimes it turns into a mini IR lecture where I feel like maybe you've gotten off in the wrong direction, especially that week 4 essay, man. We have a lot, that essay catches a lot of misunderstandings about things. And so I turn it into a learning exercise, right? So, and that is just you and me. It's private between you and me. And it's me telling you, okay, here's what I think you did. And even if you get an A, you're going to get a lot of feedback, right? I give about as much feedback to A's as to B's as to C's, because I think we can always do more with this stuff, right? So honestly, it's the one thing I do really well as a professor. I'm proud of this. I think that's why you're happy you have me as a professor, right? There are a lot of reasons perhaps to not be happy about it, but that's one thing. And I have grading criteria, basically it's knowledge of the subject matter, right? Did you get the stuff right? And then skills of analysis. Did you answer the frickin' question? Usually that's have you logically stuck to the question or have you strayed from it, that sort of thing. But these are the essays. Week 4 essay is very difficult. The week 4 essay tends to be the most, because it's very theoretical. To be honest with you, the week 9 essay is fairly straightforward, a lot easier. But oh, by the way, I talk about all this feedback. You get feedback on the week 4 essay. You get feedback on your literature review, which we're about to go into. Week 9, the last thing, remember I said I got to turn in grades very quickly. I don't have time to give you, it takes me a lot of time to go through and give everyone feedback. Not only the reading and assessing the essay and then taking the up to 10 minutes to grade, but also sometimes Canvas uploading the audio file. Sometimes I need to go, water the lawn or something. So I grade a bunch a day, and it takes a while. I can't do it. I can't do it at the end of the term. And so you're just going to get a grade on that one. And for that reason, that essay does not have tricks. There's not an agenda. There's not an ulterior motive. It's a very straightforward essay, probably the kind of thing you were expecting from essays all along. And so we end on I don't want to, don't want to say easy, but we do end on a very straightforward essay that people tend to get their highest grade in the course on. So, it gets better as you go on. But also, people by that point are on board, and so there's that. Okay, the literature review. I keep talking about this. Um, you have to do a literature review, and the literature review is something you do when you're doing research. You say, I have this topic. You choose a topic and you want to do research on it. The first step in doing research is to review the scholarly literature, that is journal articles, like, we're reading in the course. I said we're going to be reading all these articles from journals. Well, you go in the journals and you look for articles relevant to your topic. And you assess, okay, what does the literature say about this topic? And you you kind of get a sense of the landscape, right? You get a broad view. It's very much I frequently use the metaphor that you're describing the forest, not the trees, right? And but you're also analyzing it, saying, okay, what could we do here? What could we add to this forest? Which is abusing the metaphor. We're going to drop that metaphor now. But you look at the literature and say, where are the gaps in this? Where is it? Is there an opportunity to answer a question? What question haven't they answered, or what's the next step that we could take from this literature, right? That's what a literature review is. It's a part of a research project. It's the developing of the topic, moving from, hey, I'm interested, I want to do a paper on this topic, down to a more focused research question. So that is the first thing you're going to do right? That is the first thing you do when you do, say, your capstone. And honestly, we find we get students who get through, I was surprised when we started doing capstones. Students don't understand what a literature review is. And so and in fact, a lot of you don't, right? Because that becomes a very big part of this assignment, is understanding what actually a literature review is and what you're supposed to be doing. And in fact, that very often will be the difference between A and a B on this assignment. So the point is, let's get working on it now, right? And so you're going to do this thing. It's about 6 to 8 pages. It's a little essay. You're not trying to prove anything. You're trying to look at, okay, here's what they've done on this. What questions have they answered? What have they done? And where are some opportunities to go forward, right? So that's what the literature review is about. You do that in week 7. And the one thing I always tell people, because a literature review, you're very heavily covering a bunch of different articles, you really want to watch your Turnitin similarity. And also, this is where you really you should be nailing down your, what we call the scholarly style, which is how you cite and reference things, right? And I have handouts on that in the first week. But there, we really, we're going to nail some things down that are useful skills. Everything you do there is going to be very useful in other courses, not just the capstone. So that's that assignment. Okay, so 28 minutes into this, I know some of these presentations are long. I used to teach classes for 3 hours at a stretch. So, I'm going to be pulling this in at around 30 minutes, which is longish, but not unusual for a presentation. If you get in a problem, right? If you have problems in the course, first chillax, okay? We're going to work it out, right? Especially like if you, oh my God, I'm getting deployed, or, I'm getting divorced, or my son is sick in the hospital, I just had my computer, so, I mean, stuff happens. I'm going to work with you, okay? So that's the first thing. Relax, we're going to work it out. Second thing, don't get in deep. Talk to me, communicate to me, let me know what's going on. You have my phone number. It's my cell phone. If I'm walking the dogs, you can get a hold of me, right? Don't call me in the middle of the night if you can avoid it, please. But, you can communicate with me. Email works fine. There's no reason. For everything we do, an email is fine, right? That's quick enough. But if you really need to get a hold of me, or someone stole your computer and you can't email me, hey, you got my cell phone. Don't get in too deep. We'll work, we'll communicate, we'll figure things out. Do keep in mind that, as you go through the course, if you say, oh, I need some time, I'm going to be late, I'm going to go past the grace period on this, I'm going to be like, I'm probably going to send you an email back, no problem, right? The no problem email, right? No problem, no problem. I'm cool with this. You're an adult. You got this. Well, don't get too far behind because you can get, don't abuse that. Don't, because you have to get done by the end of the term, right? Or you need to apply for an incomplete. Now, keep in mind, to request an incomplete from me, to get an incomplete, one, you have to request it. And there's a form, and there's a link to the form at the end. And you do it at the end, right? Because I don't know what you haven't done until at the end of the, I don't know what needs to be completed at the end of the course till we get to the end of the course, right? Because a lot of the form is me saying, here are the things that are left for you to do in the course to finish it. The idea is that if I die, somebody can take this form and figure out if you completed the course, by the way. That's a lot of what could, if I die or get fired, right? Or whatever, something happens. That's what that form is about, right? It's an objective third party. Okay, what's left for here? The key thing, though, is you need to have 50% of the coursework done to get it incomplete. So you can't get too far behind, right? You're going to need to get done with the DXs and, that week 4 essay, or you're good, and you're going to have to get something like 50% completed for me to give you an incomplete. So you can't ghost through the whole course and then say, oh, give me an incomplete. When you get an incomplete, on the plus side, you have 6 weeks to finish the work, and when you finish it, I give you a new grade, and it's like it never happened. Okay, so we can work with you. So keep that in mind. And last but not least, at 32 minutes, I'm sorry it takes so long, contacting me. Email works best. Okay, I check my email several times a day. I'm old, email works fine, and really any of our, really most of the problems can be solved that way, right? However, there's my phone number. Here it is again. That is my cell phone number. It will interrupt me. I'll be listening to whatever book I'm listening to if I'm not working on something else. And go ahead, call me, right? If you're sitting around worrying about something, let's get it fixed, right? I don't want you wasting time worrying about stuff. I'm going to fix the problem. We're going to fix the problem, get a plan, or at least get a plan to fix it, and we're going to move on. You can text me. I do not promise to return this text. I promise to return the email. It's my job. I'm required to return the email. And I will almost always pick up the phone. Oh, well, a lot of, sometimes I put the phone down and walk away from it, to be honest with you, right? But, I'll get back to you. And by the way, if I don't get back to you with an email, because I do miss emails now and then, if you don't hear back from me within a day, please send me another email. It means you've fallen through the cracks. It happens. I work really hard not to let it happen, but it happens. Please do me the solid of giving me a second bite at the apple, not like, oh, I sent you an email a week ago, I haven't heard back. I'm like, well, look, after the second day, that thing got buried in my inbox and I'm never going to find it, right? I did something. I don't know what. I thought I was going to do it. By the way, the more complex the question you ask, the more difficult it can be. If you don't hear back from me within 24 hours, you need to say, hey, what about that? Okay. Please do that. I'm happy when people do that, right? Texting, if you text, I miss text. I don't know why. I miss them, and so, but you'll have to tell me who you are, obviously. But it is my cell phone. It is an iPhone. I do get text. You can also ask a question through the Ask Me Something forum in the discussion board, which, guess what, generates an email. And I go, oh, look, and I respond to it. Getting a trend that email is really how my life runs. So, but you can do that, and that is a place where you can publicly ask a question and let other people see it. Right. So I like it when students, don't use that for questions about your grade or anything private, because if you ask me the question there, I'm answering it there, and I might not be aware I'm answering it there if it's come to me through an email. So, don't ask private things in a forum. Okay, would be my first thing. However, larger questions about IR, yeah, sure, go ahead and do that. Let other people see it. So, um, point though is contact me. I do have, yeah, look, I have office hours listed because Troy makes me list office hours. No one ever calls me during my office hours. You call me when it's convenient for you because it is my job. I literally get paid. It is my job to help you guys out, not yours. So you call me when it's convenient for you. Please try to limit that to something like, from 7 in the morning to 6 p.m. at night, Eastern time. I'm Eastern, not Central time, by the way. Troy is Central time, I'm Eastern time. But, I have that 11-hour window there, right? 7 days a week, and I will take your call. And so, like I say, technically I do have office hours. At the end of that window, right? My office hours are 4 to 6, Monday through Thursday. However, call me when it's convenient for you and you have time, because you you are paying my bills. So I'm quite happy to take your questions when it's convenient for you. Okay, enough of that. 36 minutes. Sorry it went so long, but welcome to the course, and I hope you have a good experience with it.